Part 1. The Cactus Coop and Other Hangovers is approximately equal to excerpted novel Chapter 1, Coffee Dial Tone and the Boy in the Shogun Cap. The diner's phone hiccuped more than it rang. Henry the repairman, who treated telephones like war veterans, had it open on the counter while Mel fried bacon with the solemnity of a surgeon. Steam rose. Vera polished spoons. Jolene fluffed her hair. Alice did the thing she did best, paid attention. Tommy walked in wearing a Shogun cap that made him look like he'd lost a duel with a lawnmower. Don't say anything, he warned, which only guaranteed commentary. You look like a monk who failed the audition, Jolene said, delighted. It was a fraternity prank, Tommy mumbled. It's how they express themselves. Try poetry, Alice said, hearing the tremble beneath his smirk. She smelled the day before on his breath tomatoes and regret. How late did the party go? Define late. After sunrise is not a metaphor, she said. It's a cry for help. Tommy made a show of shrugging. He was 19 and convinced physics bent for him. The truth sat there anyway. Pulsing drinking had become a second language. He asked for her credit card to rent a car and impress a cheerleader named Amy, a beautiful reason to make a terrible choice. No, Alice said, not while you're drinking. I love you too much to help you hurt yourself. He rolled his eyes. You don't trust me. I don't trust alcohol. It's winning too many arguments. Nick arrived handsome as a polished comma, and because fate likes a good setup, offered Tommy his car. The keys winked. Tommy promised caution with the confidence of a boy who believed consequences were superstitions invented by parents. Alice's jaw set her hand tightening around the coffee pot. She'd always said if the world insisted on testing her son, she hoped it picked gentle questions. The world famously did not. 2. How to lose a car in 10 drinks. The night unraveled. Amy thought he was drinking too much. He was. There was a punch bowl. No one remembers what kind of punch. The punch remembers. Tommy did a noble thing, pulled over, parked and walked, but nobility wears a clown nose when it leaves the keys in the ignition. Morning punched back. He slumped onto a stool, cheeks, gray honesty delayed but incoming. Mom, I lost Nick's car. Alice didn't raise her voice. People assumed her calm was mercy. Really, it was architecture. Panic builds nothing. She asked questions. He made jokes. She pressed. He slid away, all grease and dread. You say you don't have a problem, she said. Let's test that. How many drinks on a Friday? He tried to turn the moment into a performance. She didn't let him. Mothers are impossible audiences. The numbers came out tripping over each other, and the truth stood there out of breath. He'd been drinking before tests after tests at parties during loneliness, and because someone had laughed at a joke he wished he'd told. There's a counselor at school, she said. If I come with you, will you go? He blinked boy again, not posture. Yeah, he said the word like a first step onto solid ground. Nick came in deflecting with gallows humor until he heard the rest keys left, car gone, memory a blur. The journalist's face did what adult faces do when kids collide with real life. It folded with love and bled a little pride. The police were called. They'd look near campus. They'd also check the scrap yards. Alice clasped the counter, letting the words pass through her like a storm. And then the phone rang. Found it, someone said. Parked out back, the alley. They ran, they stared. The convertible had become a planter, a cactus sprouting from the passenger seat like Arizona's middle finger to hubris. Old Blue the Honeycutt family hound, who wandered in and out of lives like a roving comma, sniffed the tire and sneezed. Everyone laughed the laugh, people laughed to keep from crying. Nick did the math on shampooing upholstery. Tommy asked for the credit card. Alice said no because boundaries are a love language. 3. Raw eggs, hair of the dog, and other false cures. Tommy insisted he was fine. I don't drink any more than the guys, he said, the ancient chorus of control. Vera, too tender to scold, offered hair of the dog and a recipe for raw eggs. Alice met her gaze, not helpful. In the storeroom, mother and son sat on milk crates. In every sink is a small mirror. In every storeroom, a truth. You're turning jokes into armor, Alice said. You can laugh at the hangover. You can't laugh the problem away. He slumped. I feel stupid. Good, she said. It's the right temperature for changing. He asked her to come to the counselor. She nodded. He leaned into her a fraction the way boys allow when no one is watching. She smelled his hair or what was left of it and thought about the day he'd been born, how the nurse had said, "He's loud," and Alice had said, "Good, the world is louder." In the dining room, Henry presented the new payphone like a priest with a relic. He read out a set of rules: never jab the buttons, never shout into the mouthpiece, do not pull on the cord. Mel gleefully ignored all three in 10 seconds. Civilization wobbled. Alice laughed because life had started again. It always did. 4. The diner as group therapy. The talk at school went better than Tommy feared and worse than he wanted. Shame softened into perspective. Denial deflated on contact with words like pattern and coping. His shoulders rose and fell as if he'd been carrying a backpack he couldn't see. That night, he worked a short shift bussing tables, punishment repurposed as belonging. The regulars pretended not to stare. Old Blue curled at his feet. Men with newspaper hands smiled at him as if to say, "We survived our 20s too, kid." When the police called to say the car had been found with cactus, Nick tried to perform his old swagger and failed, thankfully. He apologized to Alice for going behind her back, and Alice apologized for not believing in his better judgment. It was there, she admitted, just hidden under a terrible idea. They all went outside to gawk at the green insult in the convertible. Mel said, "Hire a gardener." Vera said, "At least it's drought tolerant." Jolene said, "If love were a plant, it'd be this thorny, ridiculous, and hard to kill." Alice looked at her son at the ruin and the relief at the ridiculousness you get when a boy chooses to park instead of drive. She put a hand on his cheek, just once, just briefly, the way you touch a bird you're about to release. "You did a smart thing," she said. "Let's do more of those." In the morning, she poured coffee for a table of hungover students and slipped in the sort of wisdom that fits under a saucer. "Drink water between beers," she said, "or better don't drink to prove you're brave. The bravest thing is calling it when you've had enough." Tommy worked the lunch rush with a quiet focus that looked a little like sobriety trying on a new jacket. It fit better than he expected. 5. Interlude: what love looks like in a diner. It looks like Alice refusing to be her son's accomplice and still being his ride home. It looks like Nick admitting his charm can't outvote consequences. It looks like Vera brewing coffee for both the guilty and the forgiven. It looks like Jolene standing in front of the cactus and declaring it art until everyone laughs. It looks like Mel grumbling about upholstery shampoo and then paying half. Phoenix sun beat down on the alley. A stray breeze rattled the pale spines of the car's new resident. Inside the bell chimed, the grill hissed, and a life went on not perfect, which is to say, perfect. Part 2. The case of the Purloined Sirloin is approximately equal to excerpted novel, Chapter 1. Cattle clipboards and a man named Shorty. There are crimes you expect in a city: parking, posturing, and pastry theft. Cattle rustling wasn't on Alice's list. Yet Elliot came in with a face like an underlined memo and said the words "purloined sirloin." Somewhere on the edge of Phoenix, a gang was herding steers into an 18-wheeler, funneling cheap beef into the city like contraband protein. Vera beamed. Elliot's on a stakeout, in plain clothes. She lowered her voice. Trench coat. Vera Alice said in Phoenix, trench coats are a uniform cop or flasher. Jolene suggested a decoy, not a wooden duck, a human one. Elliot's sergeant, sensing Mel's bottomless appetite for rewards, dangled the Cattlemen's Association, $5,000, and watched our fry cook transform into a civic-minded patriot. Out of the goodness of your heart, Alice teased. Out of the goodness of my wallet, Mel clarified, relieved to be understood. They wired him up with a transmitter and a new apron to hide it. The marked money felt like a prophecy in his pocket. He repeated the cover story, complaining loudly about meat prices at the market until the wrong ears overheard the right complaint. A call came Shorty. Rendezvous at the Cattle Baron Bistro, a place with sawdust on the floor and a brand new kitchen of trouble in the back. As 2. 3 women and a bad idea. Jolene, Vera, and Alice could have stayed home. They could have trusted professional men with clipboards. They did not. Mel is going to get himself arrested, Jolene said, already hunting for her lipstick like a sword. Or mugged. Or both, Vera added. Muggers did. They put on dresses that hid nerves and drove across town to a bar where the light did not travel well. There were two men who could have been Shorty's shorter and shortest, plus a bartender with the eyes of a man who'd stopped being surprised in 1978. The women took a table and ordered drinks that pretended to be gentle. At the back, Mel sat with Shorty, the shortest as fate insists on poetic precision. "Let's talk meat," Mel said too fast, forgetting that criminal transactions begin with trust exercises. Shorty wanted to get to know his new customer, which in Phoenix often involves frowning and inventory. The bug under Mel's shirt crackled. The transmitter hissed. Somewhere, a cop said Swanee. Testing. Maxwell, bless him, had show. Tune instincts even on surveillance.